Good evening. My name is Robert Winans. I'm the instructional administrator for music here in the Guilderland Central School District, and it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you all to the GHS and 8th grade band concert. It is really a great evening. We have amazing music planned by amazing musicians, and it's really, I feel like the last couple of years, every time I'm up here, I'm saying, hey, this is the first time we've done X, Y, or Z since COVID, and it's probably everyone's getting sick of hearing that, but honestly, this is the first year where things are back to normal, and I only experienced normal for about 6 months into the job, my first year here, but I remember how much I loved these first concerts because they were all of the GHS ensembles with the 8th grade and that wonderful tie-in between the middle school and the high school. And the 8th graders, you guys are lucky to be able to hear all the wonderful music that you're going to be able to make over the next 4 years, so it's really exciting. I just want to say thank you to all the parents and families in the audience for all that you've done to encourage these young musicians with practicing and paying for instruments and sometimes lessons outside of school and whatnot. It's truly wonderful to see how much support and see a full audience again today and have our students back in the audience with us. So, without further ado, it is my distinct pleasure to hand it over to Landon Keinel.
Thank you, Landon, and thank you, Mr. Winans. Good evening, everybody. My name is John Fatuzzo. Standing right behind me right now and looking fantastic is the Guilderland High School Jazz Ensemble. This is a group that rehearses once a week after school and then a few evenings each month. And they weren't initially on the program for tonight, but I figured it was worth putting them on, and in a few seconds you'll understand why. So I hope you enjoyed this fun swing tune by the very famous jazz composer Thad Jones. We're going to feature 5 of our band members soloing on this one. Hope you enjoy. Landon Connell on the trumpet. How about another big round of applause for all our soloists tonight? Folks, thank you very much. We're going to just take a little short transition, and Mr. Utter and the 8th grade band will be on their way shortly. Thank you very much.
very much. Good evening. What a great opening by the Jazz Ensemble. One more round of applause. You guys sounded amazing. Parker, Skip.
Good evening and welcome to our concert. The term repercussions is defined as an effect, influence, or result that is produced by an event or action. Repercussions by Robert W. Smith uses this concept of cause and effect in its creative approach. Rhythmic figures introduced in the winds are echoed in the repercussion. Antiphonal snare drums create layers of effect and interest as they interact throughout the piece. Keyboard percussion is featured over mysterious harmonic effects driving the rhythms and musical interplay in the winds, return leading to a very energetic conclusion.
Good evening. Our percussion section is one of the best percussion sections that I've ever taught. Knowing that at the start of the year, because I taught them last year, knowing that at the start of the year I chose music specifically to feature the percussion section. Maybe I went a little too far because it chose repercussions and there were actually more percussion parts than we had percussionists. So I had to recruit some people from the band to join the percussion section, and they were playing instruments that they've never played before, but they just stepped in and they learned it, and they're that caliber of musician, and I just wanted to point them out. Grace Curo, Anthony Padula, and Abby Slusser. Please give them another round of applause. Our next song also features percussion. I've been waiting a long time to do this song. I listened to it, and you might hate it. They hated it when they first heard it the first time. I played the recording like, we don't want to play this. This is horrible. And it's out there. It's definitely a little weird, but I really like it, and I thought they would appreciate it over time, and I think maybe half of them sort of like it now, and the other half still hate it. We'll see. So Twittering Machine is inspired by Paul Klee's artwork. In this 1922 watercolor, there are 4 birds that appear to be shackled to a wire attached to a crank. Although there are many interpretations, it seems to depict a struggle between nature and machine. This piece replicates that struggle. This song also features our amazing percussion section, as well as Abby Slusser and Emma Schlegel. Joining us in the piano, Abby Schofield. She's going to be doing a piano solo as well. I've never done piano in band before, so this is one of the reasons I really wanted to do the song. And Abby stepped up, I'll do it, no problem. So it is easy to find people to cover these parts because they're such amazing musicians. Without further ado, Twittering Machine. Sorry, I have to do a lot of talking because there's a lot of transitions and they don't want you looking at them while they're doing the transitions. So I'm supposed to be distracting you while they do their transitions. How about another round of applause for the soloists in there first? The soloists. And another round of applause for the percussionists that are doing all that work back there. Thank you. All right, so Alex Parmenter, Tim Kelly, and Gavin Reyes are always after school with me. They're always looking for something to do. They're always jamming, playing some improv. And I say, well, why don't you guys play some improv at the concert? So that's what they decided to do. I've listened to it at least 3 times, and it's different every single time I hear it. So I have no idea what's going to happen tonight, but I'm sure it's going to be amazing. Where's Gavin? Oh, okay. So they're still setting up, so let me stall some more. Some of their improv just seems like a competition, like, I'm going to play snare drum better than you. And then he goes, no, I'm going to do better than you. And then he goes, I got the drum set. I can take care of all of you. Bye-bye. So it's a nice, friendly competition. All right, without further ado, the percussion trio with a little improv. I'd like to thank the high school for inviting us to perform tonight. It was very nice of them to have us perform in their venue and give us the opportunity to listen to the symphonic band, which these members will be joining next year. So I'll be very sad to see this group that I'm so proud of leave me next year, but I know they're going to good hands in the high school, so that makes me feel comforted to know that they'll be taken care of when they get to the high school. And they're going to have wonderful people, former students of mine, and Miss St. Clair's that will take good care of them and include them as much as they can and welcome them to the band family up here at the high school. NISBA is an organization that puts on an honor band, and we had several students make it in, so I wanted to give them a little recognition. The honor band is made up of the best students in New York. You send in your NISBA scores and your levels and recommendations, and then they decide based on that. And I'd like to introduce to you the 4 people that made it and the 2 alternates as well. Adam Horelchek, Anthony Padula, Aaron Vitelli, Caleb Pinder, please stand up. As well as the alternates Tim Kelly and Austin Lee. You guys good? You can sit down, thank you. All right, without further ado, here's our last song. Not ready? One more second. Great American Frontier. You guys played before? You good? Yes?
It's hard to believe we're just getting warmed up, right? That was really great. At this time, I'd like to invite Julie Petty, who is the president of the Guilderland Music Parents and Friends Association, a wonderful organization that helps support music in our district. And I'm going to invite her up to say a few words about the organization.
Thanks, Bob. As Bob said, my name is Julie Petty. I'm the president of the Guilderland Music Parents and Friends Association. I'd like to take a moment to speak with you about our organization and invite you to become sponsors of the organization, which helps support music in our schools. Our organization advocates for the importance of music and arts in our schools. We also raise funds to support additional educational programming and musically enriching experiences for all grades, elementary through high school, as well as scholarships for our music students who have been selected for All-State, Area All-State, and other honors festivals. And if you take a look through your program, you'll see just how many of our students in band alone have been selected for these honors, which speaks to the quality of the music program at Guilderland High School. Some of the recent things the music parents have sponsored include providing bell covers for the instruments during COVID, paying to fix up donated instruments that we then provide to the school for use as loaner instruments through our Play It Again Guilderland campaign, and bringing in musical ensembles like Ithaca Capella to perform for all ages. This spring, we are paying to bring in a guest conductor for 3 days to work with all of our middle and high school students, orchestra students, for our first May Orchestra Festival since pre-COVID. But we need your help to continue this important support. Please consider becoming a sponsor today by taking a look at the back of your program. We've tried to make it really easy for you. There's a QR code in the back of your program. If you scan that code, it'll take you to a website where you can become a sponsor and provide a donation for our organization. Thank you for all that you do to support your students, to support the Guilderland music programs, and hopefully become sponsors to support our organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. It really is a wonderful organization, and if you're sitting there and thinking, boy, I'd really like to get involved, that sounds like something that I'd like to get involved in. We have meetings most months, and we do them both virtually and in person, and everyone is welcome to attend and get involved. We are always happy to have more people join the organization and help out. So, we are having a little bit of a transition here before our next group, and then you'll have the pleasure of hearing Mr. John Fatuzzo once again, this time with the Symphonic Band. ready to go here. So without further ado, Mr. John Fatuzzo and the Symphonic Band.
Thank you so much. How about another round of applause for the FMS 8th grade band? Thank you for sticking around for our portion of the program. This is the Guilderland High School Symphonic Band, a group comprised of mostly 9th and 10th graders with some upperclassmen mixed in as well. This group meets every other day, and we have a program here of all works that we've been working on since our very first day of school. We started off with a traditional concert march, which in the concert band world is like our bread and butter. It teaches precision, it teaches balance, it teaches blend, dynamics, articulation, you name it, we are teaching it in a march, and I think they did a really fantastic job with that Carl King Swearingen version of the Carl King March Coast Guards. We are going to move on to a piece that I was initially a little worried about programming in the sense that it's considered one of like the old war horses of band repertoire. I think I explained it to the group as it's kind of like reading Tom Sawyer in your English class. It's old and it's got some interesting tales and some interesting things in it, but there's a reason for that because it has a lot of really great literature concepts to dive into, and that's exactly what excuse me, Kentucky 1800 here does for us. It's just really beautifully scored with lush details and all of the inner voices, as well as some really interesting melodies that are spread all around the group. And it's based off some folk songs that all originate in the pioneer movement of 1800. So as you listen to these songs, which are titled The Promised Land, I'm Sad and I'm Lonely, and then Cindy, it's basically this migration from a story. We kind of created music through a story, imagining the pioneers kind of taking their world across the country to a place they've never been before, and kind of the apprehension that comes with that. Where in the world are we? You can almost hear as we go into the I'm sad and I'm lonely part, it just drops the floor. It just gets so much softer, and you can imagine like stars shining with bell parts as there's uncertainty in the night. And then he hears this tune, Cindy, which is just so charming and cute. And we imagine it being about our pioneers, maybe loved ones back home. And it's just really a lot of fun to play and gives us the energy to bring back the initial tune and make it all the way across. This was a really fun story that we concocted together, and we're going to use music to try to describe it for you. This is the infamous Claire Grundman's Kentucky 1800. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's a lot of fun for us. I hope you guys really enjoyed that. Before we head to the last piece on our program, I do want to draw your attention to some extra recognitions that Ms. Ellinger and I were very careful to put into our program that recognizes all the really, really exciting things that our students behind us, as well as in the group that you're about to hear after this, are doing outside of our time here making music at Guilderland High School, from area all-state selections to NSBDA to all the SEO and all the other things that are happening. So please take a look at what all of our great musicians on stage are doing outside of school. We are going to move on to the last piece of our program, which is music telling not a story, but depicting pictures. And this one is through folk tunes from Ireland. This, from the get-go, was a lot of fun putting together, having us play these folk tunes, these famous Irish folk tunes, and setting them to picturesque scenes in Ireland, whether that's the shamrocky green hills or the bustling music city of Galway or one of the old cathedrals, or you can hear the brass choirs kind of ringing out there. And it was just a lot of fun to dive into each of those individual tunes. Thank you so much for coming out and for supporting all of the band musicians that you got to hear tonight. Thank you so much for having a great audience here, FMS 8th grade band. Congrats again, and hope to see you guys on this stage for this concert a year from now. Please make sure you stick around for the fabulous Guilderland Wind Ensemble, directed by Kathleen Ellinger after this. They're going to knock your socks off as well. Thank you very much, folks. Thank you for coming tonight. Hope you enjoy our last number, Images of Ireland, the GHS Symphonic Band. Thank you. At the conclusion of this piece, we are going to try a little something, and band, just bear with me for a moment. We're going to try to grab a group picture while everybody is dressed up and is here on the stage. So what'll happen is the group will all stand at the very end. Anybody that wants to grab a beautiful picture of us, you're welcome to get in the aisle and do so, but we're all going to pose for Mr. Maycock up in the rafters there to get a nice shot of all of us here today. So that'll happen afterwards. Thank you again. Bye-bye. Yes. Oh, I'm going to go right here next to Ryan. Is that okay? Can you get everybody in there? Feel free to take pictures yourself. Everybody look up at Mr. Maycock there in the ramp. All right. Which percussionist is it?
Ready? 1, 2, 3, smile.
Hey, Shorm.
All right, thank you. ready to go. How about another round of applause for the symphonic band and Mr. Fatuzzo? As I'm sitting here tonight, what's most impressive to me is that it's November. For a couple hours anyway. But it's November, and the level of musicianship already this early in the year is pretty phenomenal. So, just my hat's off to all of our wonderful teachers and all of our wonderful students for all their hard work. I'd like to take a moment to talk a little bit about Miss Ellinger and the Wind Ensemble. So, Miss Ellinger has what I think is a very unique way of teaching, and it's wonderful to watch and wonderful to witness. A lot of times, musical ensembles are very much led by the conductor. That's the way that they're set up. Miss Ellinger really puts the students in the driver's seat in that the way that they rehearse. They play, they listen to each other, they evaluate each other, they talk to each other in an environment that is supportive and where they give their honest feedback so that they can all improve as one. And the Wind Ensemble was selected to present this way of rehearsing, this rehearsal technique, at the New York State Band Directors Association Symposium in March in Syracuse. This is a conference just for all band teachers in New York State. So this is a pretty big honor. So I would like to give the Wind Ensemble and Miss Ellinger a huge round of applause. So be prepared, as Mr. Fatuzzo said, to have your socks knocked off. Here is the wonderful Miss Ellinger and the GHS Wind Ensemble.
it's not too often we get to hear trombone players. A lot of times they play the oompas and the low counter melodies and bass line, but this time I thought, well, how often do you get to have this many awesome trombone players? And they kind of looked at me when I gave them the piece. They said, Mrs. Ellinger, you're crazy. And I have to tell you, I'm very, very proud of them. You will really enjoy this piece. They're just going to have so much fun, and I think you will too, and you'll notice just the wonderful, just the fun they have with using their slide, because you don't get to use that very often, right? So have a good time, and let's go. How often do you get to see that? That was pretty amazing. I'm so proud of you guys. Now, I did ask them to memorize it, but I don't know, maybe I was just a softie in my old age, and they, every once in a while, I'll have to go, during rehearsal, we'd come around and I'd kind of get them in a huddle and say, all right, guys, come on, how do we make this fun for the audience? And sure enough, it's amazing. Every single time, you do a great job. You just got to coach them a little bit. But anyway, so I just want to, real quick, before we start our next piece, which is Pageant of Light, again, I'd like to acknowledge the musicians who are in All-State and alternates, so Bowden Keinel and Olivia Petty, and alternate Carson. Please stand up. And by the way, it's Olivia Petty's birthday today. And then one last thing, we just heard that Bowden Keinel made all Eastern, which is the whole Eastern Seaboard for the jazz ensemble. So can we give Bowden a nice big hand? And just a quick thought about the collaborative effort that we're going to be doing that Mr. Winans spoke about. It's an encouragement. It's something that they have to put their fear behind them because they just don't want to look wrong when you're here and you're in the middle of rehearsal and it's 7:30 in the morning and they're exhausted and they don't want to talk. But it's really important to instill upon them that they have to do this when they go into college, into your work and all of that. So it's really important to get used to, you might have to be at a presentation at 7:30 in the morning or 7, right? And that's okay, but you can somehow fake it, right? Sometimes I have to do that too when I'm up there. But then when you decide that you fake it, you're like, wait a minute, I'm starting to feel good. I'm not faking it anymore, right? So, I mean, that's what it's all about, just having fun and just really enjoying each other here. So I just want to thank you for getting here at 7:30 in the morning and playing and do such a great job. So thank you so much. We're going to give me a hand, that's fine. Okay. And one last thing, I'd like to thank Mr. Winans and also Mr. Piscatelli, our principal, who creates a wonderful atmosphere in our school. I find him a safe zone for me and for our students, in my opinion. And I think when he comes up here and he helps with the setup and he gets into the dirty work, that to me is a leader. And I just want to thank Mr. Piscatelli for helping us out here. It's really, really important for us to feel like we're a team. It's important. So anyway, Pageant of Light. Maycock, are we ready for a nice picture? All right, percussionists, I'm thinking, why don't we, three of you come on over here and two come on over on this side. I also want to